Greer Gaber 3433671, Fall 2020. Clip 2, canine lateral recumbency, lateral saphenous venipuncture, restraint. For this venipuncture, we will need the dog in lateral recumbency, lateral meaning relating to the side, recumbency meaning fully reclined. So we will need the dog laying on her side. The lateral saphenous vein is located on the lateral side, so on the outside of both hind limbs. It runs proximal to the hock and distal to the stifle. So it runs diagonally on the outside of both hind limbs, so you can use either one. To get the dog into lateral recumbency, first I will get her into a sit. Then, maintaining control of the head the entire time, I will grab both limbs closest to me, to my body, and gently roll her onto her side. I will maintain pressure on just below her mandible on her neck and maintain my grip on both limbs that are laterally on the ground. Maintaining this pressure, I will occlude the lateral saphenous vein for venipuncture by squeezing right above it on the stifle until it presents itself, and apply enough pressure to occlude the vein. Once the assistant is done drawing blood, I will release my pressure and now apply pressure on the venipuncture site until the dog has stopped bleeding. Once the dog has stopped bleeding, I will release my restraints while maintaining control of the dog. Clip 3, canine cephalic venipuncture, sternal restraint. For this venipuncture, we will need the dog in sternal recumbency. Sternal meaning relating to the sternum, which is located ventrally on the dog. Recumbency meaning fully reclined, so essentially we will need the dog laying on her belly. The cephalic vein runs along the top of both forelimbs, so you can use either one. To get the dog into sternal recumbency, first I will get her into a sit by applying pressure on her hind limbs and moving her body up and backwards. Next, I will gently extend her forelimbs from behind the elbow out. I will use my body to maintain pressure to keep her in sternal recumbency. Now that we have her in sternal recumbency, I will maintain control of the head by holding her away from the person drawing blood just below her mandible. And I will extend her forelimb out from behind her elbow so she can't back up. I will apply enough pressure to occlude the vein and then roll it all the way laterally, maintaining pressure. Once the assistant is done drawing blood, I will release that pressure and apply pressure on the venipuncture site until the dog has stopped bleeding. Once the dog has stopped bleeding, I will release pressure, release my restraints while maintaining control of the dog. Clip 4, feline medial saphenous venipuncture, lateral recumbency. For this venipuncture, we will need the cat in lateral recumbency, lateral meaning relating to the side, recumbency meaning fully reclining, so we'll need the cat laying on his side. The medial saphenous vein is located on the inside of either hind legs. I'll give you a better look when we get him into lateral recumbency. To get the cat into lateral recumbency, first you want to scruff the cat, so at the base of the skull, you will hold his skin and gently squeeze. Make sure all your fingers are on skin, and then you will hold both hind limbs at the same time and rotate the cat onto his side, keeping your forearm against his back so he can't back up anywhere, and safely moving him to the edge of the counter. I will drop the hind limb that is closest to the counter, and the assistant will come and hold the paw for venipuncture. So the medial saphenous vein, it runs right on the inside of either hind limb. Okay, so to occlude the vein, with this same hand that I'm holding his other paw and tail out of the way, I'm going to apply enough pressure until the vein protrudes for venipuncture. Once the assistant is done drawing blood, I will release the pressure, and now I will put pressure on the site where the blood was taken until the cat has stopped bleeding. Once the cat has stopped bleeding, I will release my restraints while maintaining control of his body. Clip 5, feline cephalic venipuncture, sternal restraint. For this venipuncture, we will need the cat in sternal recumbency. Sternal meaning relating to the sternum, which is located ventrally on the cat. Recumbency meaning fully reclining, so we will need the cat laying on his stomach. The cephalic vein runs along the top of both forelimbs, so you can use either one. To get the cat into sternal recumbency, first I will get him into a sit by applying pressure on his hind limbs and moving his body up and back. Now that he's in a sit, I will extend his forelimbs forward from behind the elbow so he can't back up until he is in sternal recumbency. I will maintain pressure and keep him locked close to my body with my elbow around his butt and move him safely to the edge of the counter. With one hand, I will control the head by just holding under his jaw. With the other hand, I will extend his forelimb forward from behind the elbow so he can't back up. Let me have it. To occlude the cephalic vein, I will apply enough pressure with my thumb until the vein protrudes for venipuncture and roll the vein all the way laterally. Once the assistant is done drawing blood, I will release the pressure of occluding the vein, and now I will hold off on the puncture site until the cat has stopped bleeding. Once the cat has stopped bleeding, I will release my restraints while maintaining control of his body.